Earlier this year, we witnessed an unprecedented wave of teacher uprisings around the country, beginning in West Virginia and spreading here to the Southwest. I want to talk briefly about the policies that led to this fight back, the nature of this uprising, and how, as socialists, we can support and intervene in this movement. So a little bit about myself. I'm a high school teacher in Denver, Colorado, and a union member. Denver is a city that has the unfortunate distinction of being a pioneer for many of the destructive, racist, and classist neoliberal school reforms that have been carried out in the U.S. In the recent decades. Over the past 4 years, I've become increasingly active in educators' unions, like many teachers, because of the intolerable working and learning conditions that we face every day. A poll earlier this year showed that 3 in 4 Americans, regardless of their politics, believe that teachers are underpaid. It's not a surprise, right? This wave of actions and strikes is a clear sign that many education workers are at a breaking point. It is noteworthy that the fight back has emerged in states which are considered conservative or inhospitable to labor activity. States like West Virginia, Oklahoma, Arizona, and Colorado. In other words, it is the severity of the conditions that has driven this movement. I have a coworker whose husband was recently laid off. When she realized that it would cost almost half her monthly paycheck to insure just her 3 children, not herself, she broke down crying in the teacher's lounge. She's already working 2 jobs, and she's taken in renters to help pay her mortgage. We buy our own toilet paper and soap. We're micromanaged by legislators and corporate stooges who have no idea about education or no experience in the classroom. We are expected to work unlimited overtime, and we do it with a smile on our face to make schools safe, fun for every kid. What we're seeing across the country right now are the devastating results of decades of defunding private and privatizing public education. Charter school networks, education testing companies, and even companies like Amazon are making billions of dollars from this process. The teaching profession is deliberately being turned into a high turnover, low skill, and low paying job as teachers' unions are attacked and charter schools replace comprehensive community schools. And programs like Teach for America replace skilled union teachers. Here are some statistics from Colorado, my state. The majority of schools in Colorado have switched to a 4-day school week for budgetary concerns. Since 2009, teachers' salaries have actually decreased 15.6%, and almost half of teachers leave the classroom in their first 5 years. Denver Public Schools alone has about a 20% turnover rate every year. And you can imagine the consequences in the classroom, right? The policies that have created these conditions are absolutely bipartisan in nature and promoted by Democrats and Republicans alike. Denver, a city controlled by the Democrats, has allowed its students to act as guinea pigs for the so-called portfolio approach to school choice. This is an experiment in school reform championed by the neoliberal Dream Team, the Obama administration, the Gates Family Foundation, and the Walton Foundation. Yeah. Denver's school policy basically favors charter schools and so-called innovation schools over traditional community schools. That means these schools do not have to recognize contracts won by the teachers union, and they're basically free to pick and choose what students they want. So we've gone from having 17 comprehensive community high schools in Denver, those are schools with orchestras, with career teachers, with football teams, to having only 3. And you can guess which neighborhoods those 3 comprehensive schools are left in, by the way. It's not neighborhoods of color, right? In the monopoly stage of capitalism, markets are saturated and growth slows. So this motivates the privatization of public goods in order to provide new profit streams for parasitic capitalists at the expense of providing education to everyone. But as these forces bear down on workers, it has only increased our collective will to fight back. The Facebook group behind the West Virginia teachers' strike grew to 73,000 members in 4 days. And the success, yeah, right? The success of that wildcat strike in Arizona or in West Virginia created a domino effect, emboldening teachers hundreds of miles away to stand up against their own poor working conditions. In Colorado, the walkouts we saw in the spring grew from 1 school district to virtually every district in the state in 2 days. It was sick. And these actions have been met by overwhelming support in their respective communities. In West Virginia, striking teachers distributed breakfast and lunch to children who depend on free lunch programs to eat. In Denver and Arizona, tens of thousands took to the streets in support of teachers. But the fight is not over. Denver teachers, for example, are poised to strike in January if we cannot come to an agreement about teacher compensation. So, as teachers know, the problems of the world do not stop at the schoolhouse door. But as the past year has shown, our collective power does not stop there either. I am both a teacher and a socialist, and yeah. And as a socialist, right, we not only support these worker struggles, but we aim to broaden the impact of this movement by drawing connections between the attacks on public education and other issues like gentrification, racist policing, poverty wages, and imperialism. The only solution to these intertwined problems is a system that values human needs over profit. I want a safe, humane, and fair future for the young people that I teach, and we need socialism.